Alright, here we go. First foray into YouTube. Today I'm going to be smoking some weed and talking about Toy Story 4. Got to see it a little bit late. Was waiting for the $5 Tuesdays at my local cinema because I'm a broke ass hoe. First we're going to smoke some weed. Then I'm going to get into my review or overall thoughts of Toy Story 4. Don't look over here. Don't fucking judge me. Anyway, for those of you that haven't seen Toy Story 4, basically it picks up sometime after Toy Story 3. It doesn't exactly specify when, but we know Bonnie's a little bit older at this point, but probably not by that much. So we can safely assume that it's, within a couple years of the first movie. Bonnie creates a new friend in preschool or kindergarten because she's having trouble fitting in and making new friends. Pretty typical things that a lot of little youngsters, little younglings go through. She basically creates this friend, names him Forky, even though he's not a fork, he's more of a spork combination thing.
This is Forky. I'm trash.
And yes, I saw all the controversy going around on the internet saying that this was some LGBT statement. And for a while I was kind of on the fence about it. I was like, you know what? Could be a statement. That seems like something Pixar might want to comment on. And then I watched the movie and yeah, the fucking rainbow. The LGBT rainbow is literally on Forky's body. Case closed on that one. Woody basically at this point takes it upon himself to look after this new creation of hers. And essentially they go on like a little road trip, if you will, and Forky gets lost, partially because he's pretty fucking suicidal. This spork thingy,
Forky, I'm trash.
Whatever the fuck it is, he does not want to be alive. He's the most emo piece of utensils, cutlery that you will ever see. They introduced a couple of new characters. For me, none of the characters really landed particularly well, not as strong as some of the ones did in Toy Story 3. I'm not going to say that. Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman.
Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman.
He was fucking spectacular. Gabby plays a pretty good antagonist.
My name is Gabby.
Anyway, so Gabby fell a little flat for me. She wasn't uninteresting by any means. She was acted well. Gabby, I give you a C, bitch. Although, if we're comparing it to the main villains in the last few Toy Story movies, see the first movie, let's count them down real quick. We had Sid, fucking scary as shit, horror elements to that. He was just a sadistic, twisted little fuck.
Is Sid.
And I love that about him. I thought it was kind of a really unconventional villain, especially for a children's movie, although that movie's dripping with innuendo. Second movie, Prospector.
Yeah! Your choice, Woody. You can go to Japan together or in pieces.
A grumpy old man, essentially. A little bitter, yeah. Was he the most terrifying? No. They saved that for Toy Story 3, and I think you all know who I'm talking about.
Tell me this, Sheriff. If your kid loves you so much, why is he leaving? You think you're special, cowboy? You're a piece of plastic. You were made to be thrown away.
Lotso, motherfucking Huggins Bear. Just fucking dude. Anyway, Lotso, you know who I'm talking about. Which probably one of the greatest characters in cinema. that's quite the statement, but I feel pretty strongly about that. Among the new characters, there's the duo. What's the fucking duo's name? Let's see here. What's the duo's name? Bunny. God, I should have fucking done some research ahead of time. Anyway, Bunny and Ducky. Oh, that was fucking hard. Anyway, Bunny and Ducky. Pretty fucking funny. I don't know if they quite got the same laughs out of me as characters like, I don't know, like Ham or Slinky Dog or Mr. Potato Head in the first couple Toy Story movies. Like, some of their lines are so, like, even in this day, being a 20, 25 pluser, so many of those lines still landed with me in the original Toy Story. It also helped that I hadn't seen it in a while, so I think a lot of that stuff wasn't fresh. And you catch things, like, as an adult now that I definitely didn't back in the day.
And I deserve more respect!
Ah, that's better.
Hey, no one takes my wife's mouth, except me.
The characters, some of them landed, some of them didn't. Without a doubt, they sidelined some of the original guys. I mean, Slinky Dog, Mr. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head, like all of those original, like, kind of core group of characters, they just don't have much screen time in this movie. And I think Pixar made the decision to focus on the new characters a little bit. And I think in some ways that paid off, some ways it didn't, for me, personally. Keanu, I love you, though.
You're breathtaking!
Something Pixar has kind of always done really well is dealt with extremely complex themes and mature topics in kind of a lighthearted way.
You replaced us. Come on. She don't love you no more. Now come on!
I think in this one, it definitely deals with some themes of, you know, depression and complacency and not really knowing what your place in the world is, and I think that's something that Woody's kind of dealing with in this movie, struggling with his mortality, if you will. His glory days are behind him, and he's not being played with as much as he used to. Not all the humor lands in this movie. It definitely felt like they were trying a little bit harder. You could even tell, as far as the voice casting goes, that they were definitely going for more of a comedic tone. The first couple Toy Stories were, I think, more dry humor and sometimes adult humor, whereas these are a little bit more in your face, if you will. Not that some of the jokes don't land, because there's definitely some really, really funny, unique parts in this movie that I won't spoil if you haven't seen it, but it's not perfect all the way through. The animation in this movie blows the mind. Watching the movies sequentially like this, you can see how freaking far Pixar has come as an animation company. And going back, especially the first Toy Story, keep in mind this was the first CGI animated feature-length film that had ever been done up until this point. So it gets a ton of points. Hats off, respect, all the kudos in the world, all the kudos I have here at Pixar, take them. Some of that original animation was pretty damn rough, especially some of the dog shit, not dog excrement, but some of the dog beef, and oh, I'm so hot. The dog especially, holy shit, that was rough. The hair really doesn't move, it kind of looks more like Play-Doh. The movements were awkward and robotic.
Stupid dog!
The physics, like, they really didn't have physics in the animation, and what they did was, I imagine, pretty rudimentary. I don't know actual, like, CGI terminology, as I'm sure you can tell as I'm rambling through this, but through each and every movie, even from freaking Toy Story 1, which was, I think, 93, to Toy Story 2, which was, I think, 99. And if that's wrong, I'll do research and I'll look like an idiot afterwards. You can tell how far Pixar came as an animation company. Toy Story 4 is just heads and shoulders, again, above anything they've ever done. What's the most recent thing we had from Pixar? Coco? Oh my god, that movie was fucking gorgeous too. Does this or does that look better? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like, they both have standout moments. Some of the rain stuff in this, some of the mud. You can tell Pixar, like, as an animation company, is just fucking fearless. Like, there's nothing they will not do. The movie's brilliant. It's worth watching for the animation alone, even if the characters just sat there the whole time. It would still be worth watching just because Pixar is that fucking good at what they do. Well, I mean, I guess they wouldn't be that good if the animation looks like that, but you get the point. It's eye candy. And then finally, I want to get to the last point, the touchy subject, the thing that I feel like my opinion of this movie is differing from quite a lot of other different reviewers and different people that I've seen. Was Toy Story 4 necessary? And I'm gonna say no. And I know that's not the popular opinion, but Toy Story 3 capped off the series so freaking beautifully, and when I came out of that movie, did I cry my ass off? Yes, I did. I felt good knowing that the toys had moved on to other things and they were still all together and happy, and essentially got to start over with Bonnie. Fuck you, Andy, okay? You should have taken them all to college. I don't know what's wrong with you, bro. I still have toys in my apartment. It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
They hit a nerve with that one. Well, I guess he was gonna bring Woody, so he's not a total putz. And
Nice.
where's it around with this? It's like the drinking a Bang energy drink and then smoking weed. You're kind of just all over the place, because it's like part of you's like wants to sit there and not move, and the other half of you's like, I have things to say. Oh, was Toy Story 4 necessary? Toy Story 3 was just like, it was such a nice, just closing of the book. It was good closure. All the toys were together. They all ended up happy. I think all Pixar movies, they take you, I'm saying Pixar movies a lot, take you through an emotional roller coaster, if you will, to a certain extent, but I think most of them still end relatively happy. And for this, like, it was a bold creative choice, I'll give them that, but they fucking, Bo Peep and Woody, they go off and they do their own thing. They're lost toys now, and they're kind of these rogue toys. It was rough to have to watch Woody and Buzz say goodbye when we ended them in such a nice place together. I think it's interesting, the story that they tell on this and the places that they try to take Woody's character to. If anything, this is kind of like an epilogue, an after the fact movie. For me, it wasn't as satisfying of an ending as Toy Story 3 was.
So long, partner.
Assuming they don't decide to make more, because I know this movie made like freaking $1 billion or whatever anything Disney touches makes these days. Assuming this is the end, I guess it'll be sad, laying my head down at night knowing Woody and Buzz aren't together anymore. Yeah. So I guess that's my first YouTube video. Hope you guys liked it. If you do, I'm gonna try to start uploading somewhat consistently now. I always say that, but I'm gonna try to really stick to this, because I kind of did enjoy this today, even though I was slightly nervous and probably not as much myself as I normally am. Anyway,